Hey everybody, it's me Chris. I'm back in the kitchen. DiGiovanna Family Recipes. So we took a ride out east, we went to the farm and picked some apples, and now I gotta make apple pie. So let me show you what I got on my ingredients. I got the apples here. Now these are very similar to a Granny Smith. They're tart green apple. Granny Smith's really what you want to use if you go to the store. These came right off the tree. And I got a couple of Gala apples there. I got over here 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of flour, a half a cup of sugar. This is some whole nutmeg, and this is a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves. And that's very strong, so you want to use it sparingly, but it gives the apples a nice flavor. And then I have a full tablespoon of cinnamon, and that's a lot of cinnamon. However, I really like the taste. If you don't like it that much, use less. I have 1 lemon. I'm going to use the zest and the juice. So first thing I got to do is start to peel these apples, and you could use a vegetable peeler. I'm just going to use the paring knife, and I'll just take the top off first and then start to come around. Just watch it, don't cut yourself until you get all the peel off. Alright, and then once I get to the bottom, I'll just trim off that part. And what I'll do next is I'm just going to cut the 4 sides of the fruit off, and you want to leave them in kind of big chunks so that they don't fall apart. And I'll do the same thing with the rest of the apples. Alright, so I got all my apples cut up, and you really want to pay attention to the type of apples you're using, because if they're late season apples like these, they could be a little bit mealy and they'll break down more than the early season ones that are a lot more firm and sturdy. So I made sure to cut these in big chunks so that they stay nice when they cook and they don't completely disintegrate. So I'm going to add in all my ingredients: my flour, the brown sugar, half a cup of regular sugar, the ground cloves, the cinnamon. I'm going to grate some fresh nutmeg, and this is another strong flavor, so you don't want to add too much, just about a 1/4 teaspoon. And then I'm going to take the zest off this whole lemon. Alright, so I got the zest off this lemon, and I'm using a fine mesh grater, and you want to make sure that you don't get the white part. You want to just get the yellow off of there and don't go any deeper, because this white part is bitter. I'm also going to take some of the juice from the lemon. Make sure I don't get any seeds in there. It's not a lot of juice. I'll add the other side too. And I'm just going to give this a good mix. Alright, so this looks pretty good. I got my homemade pie dough in the fridge. I'm going to grab it and start to roll it out. Alright, so this is the homemade pie dough that I've had resting in the fridge for at least a half hour. I'm just going to put down some flour and press it down a little bit. And I'll take my rolling pin and I'm just going to hit it down, turn it the other way, and start to make my circle. And you really just want to be careful that you use enough flour so that it doesn't stick to the board. And then you start to roll. Turn it the other way. And then I'll keep flipping it to make sure that it's not sticking. And I want to roll it out to about 1 inch bigger than my pie dish, and that'll be the right size. I think that's good. And if it breaks apart a little bit, don't worry about it. You can just put it back together once you get it in the dish. I'm going to just put it right into my pie dish. Okay. And like I said, if it starts to fall apart a little bit, don't worry. You can just shape it the way you want. And I'll just press it in gently. Try to get it nice and even around the whole plate. This looks pretty good. And now at this point, I'm just going to add in the apples. And it looks like a lot, but these will cook down. Okay, just get them pressed in and center them. I rolled out the top of the pie, as you can see. And then I want to go around and make sure that I pinch the bottom and the top together. And if it's not perfectly even, don't worry about it. It's not going to make a difference. Just give you some more crunchy bits around the edges. Alright, so once I got the edges crimped, I'm just putting a little egg wash. I just beat up an egg and add a little bit of water, and this will make it the top nice and shiny. And you can see those edges are very rustic looking. In other words, baking is not my main forte, but I'm doing the best I can here. Alright, so I got the eggs on and the egg wash, and I'm just going to dust it with some regular sugar to give it some flavor and make it a little more shiny on top. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to poke a hole in the middle, let some of the steam out, and I'll put this on a baking sheet with some parchment paper because these will spill over. And I'm going to put it in the oven now. I'm going to bake it at 400 degrees for about an hour, but you want to make sure it's done. Don't take it out too early. You want to make sure that the bottom is fully cooked, and the way you'll know is just lift it up and you'll see it's nice and golden on the bottom. Okay, so my apple pie baked for just under an hour, and take a look. I think it came out really, really beautiful. Nice rustic looking apple pie. And I let it cool for about a half hour. It's still very, very warm, but I'm going to see if I can cut a piece here. And you can see the pie crust is nice and beautiful golden brown. You can get the recipe for this pie crust on my channel. Look, you can see the apples held up nice because I cut them in big chunks, and it's almost kind of a syrup that formed from the sugar and the lemon juice. And I'm going to serve this with some whipped cream. And this looks really good. And now I get to try. And you might want to wait till it cools a little bit more. This is still very hot. It'll stay a little bit more together for you. That is really, really good. And if I can do it, trust me, you can do it, because I do not bake except for pizzas. So you got to try my apple pie. Take advantage of the season when you can, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Look for me, Chris Smith, DiGiovanna Family Recipes. Thanks for watching the video.